Um, okay, sorry about that. I forgot about the microphone. So, what Spirit is asking me to do today, this is something that they brought up to me about a year ago, and they were talking about, I don't know why my screen is pulsating. Oh, it's so weird. Electronics do weird things around me. I don't have explanation for that other than the energies that I deal with. Okay, so what Spirit is asking me, they're telling me about, they keep bringing up 5,000 years ago. And I do have like a write up that I did about a year ago. I couldn't find that this morning. Um, anyway, it's here somewhere, but it gives me examples of what happened 5,000 years ago. Okay. I'm trying to ground the energy because it's so high, and I have so many beings that are coming in at the same time, trying to deliver their messages, and I need them to like just step back a little bit and take their time because this is really in depth. But this, they have me write down all kinds of different things here, and it all started with all before the birth of Christ is what they're talking about. So they're talking about ancient mystery schools. This is something that I looked into, like I said, like last year, I think. Anyway, but what they're talking about is that these spirit schools, have they've been around for about, well, I don't really know how long actually, because I can't seem to really find the truth. Just like, most of us can't really find the truth of what's going on in our universe, what's going on in our political system. We don't know what's really truly going on. The only thing that I can find out like of truth is when it comes through spirit. So, and when I refer to spirit, I refer to God and or gods. So, these schools existed in Egypt, in Sumeria, India, Babylonia. These schools lasted for a really long time, and I believe it might have been like they keep bringing up the 5,000 years, and I believe that might have been when the extraterrestrials came to the population to um, advance our race, manipulate our DNA. I mean, I guess it depends on how you view things, but I'm not here to, decide any of that for you. This is all your thing to figure out. But this is a message that Spirit wants me to bring today. And they were talking about like it had to do before the fall of Rome and the pagan civilization, because they were saying that because the fall of Rome, because the Catholic Church had such a vast empire, what they did is okay, so they're saying that during my research, the last mystery spirit school, we'll call it, that existed was burned down by the German takeover during the Second World War. And with that takeover, like when they burned that down, it was the last school that existed. And I guess it was their way of completing their agenda, or starting their agenda, maybe, because they're saying that so this was all they told me that this was all created, like it was a model for the world order, was centered around the Catholic Church, because they had such a vast um influence and um empire all around the world, because they had, like, invaded so many countries and had really taken over the cultures and removed what they didn't want. I guess it was like, because they even brought up, I'll tell you, they even brought up like the things to this. And okay, slow down, Spirit. So the world order was centered around the Catholic Church. So they're saying like that's when, like, because they outlawed the spirit schools. They outlawed the mystery schools. They outlawed all that around the world. So that's when the Hermetic writings come to exist, because um, these records, they did not want them to die with the world order, basically, right? So they just want me to give examples of um, a previous, I don't know if you call them ancestors or um, previous people that have come like through history. So one of them actually with, you know, like one was like Notre Dame. I think everybody has heard of Notre Dame. He was a French man that in the end was eventually, like, he traveled around the world, but in the end he ended up with um, under the Queen's protection in the late 1500s, because they were kind of viewing him as like doing heresy and like all these type of things. But he actually was a seer and an astrologer. So he also studied um, at the ancient mystery school. Now, I don't know if that, I think that might have been in Egypt or India. I'm not really sure which one he studied in, because I can't remember which one that they burned to the ground. But the one that they burned to the ground was the one that he studied in. And when I tried to research that, I had that information. Like I said, I have that all written down somewhere. But when I tried to research that, that information was kind of wiped from our history. I don't know. It's just it's complicated. Everything is just so complicated now because they don't want the truth to come out. You know what I mean? So with that being said, they were saying like, and Jesus, he also studied Hermetic teachings. He studied those because he also went into ancient mystery schools. I think that was in Egypt, and then he went to Tibet, and then he went into India, and he studied like at all these places. Like when he was 13, they took him, his mother took him to these places to learn all that he could about um, Hermetic teachings, basically. So the Hermetic teachings and the Gnostics, because the Gnostics are all about um, teaching men, because that's what Jesus was all about, was to teach humans that there is a higher realm, that there's a higher spiritual spirit. I need you to step in here. A higher spiritual way of being, basically, and that we all have it within us. Like I was born as a psychic, and I had a lot of like weird things that happened to me and for me, and this is something that I've been I tapped into it off and on through the years, through, my cycles of life, basically. However, it's only been the past couple years that I've actually have taken the time to study, learn, and teach, I guess. Now, the other thing too is that also, they brought up about the Knights of Templar. I don't know if anybody knows about the Knights of Templar. Now, I know people think that they were evil and that they did terrible things, but really they were originally used by the Catholic Church. Like, these were godly men, and they believed that when they were working for the Roman Empire at the time and conquering all these lands, they were trying to teach the word of God, that they were doing God's work. And even though they ended people's lives and, destroyed communities and things like that, they never attacked children or women. They only went after the men that were doing this type of, at the time, they used the word heresy. Now, the Knights of Templar, what they started to realize towards the end was that the Catholic Church was lying and they no longer trusted them. So what they started to do is they started to gain the riches and they started to hide the riches. They started to not believe what the church was preaching at that time. And they started to learn about the Gnostics and the Hermetic teachings because these teachings came like way before Jesus kind of thing, you know what I mean? And they've lasted through the ages. And so what they did is they no longer, it didn't, because they become one with the universe and understood, like it's this, seeking within. So when they were doing this, all these horrific things that they thought that, the church wanted them to do, um, a lot of them become like very skeptical and they were just like, this doesn't sit well in my soul. This doesn't feel right. And when that started to happen, because they were learning the teachings of Jesus, basically, when that was happening, they knew, they had the knowing, they had that absolute within them that it didn't feel right, it didn't sit well with them, they knew what they were doing was not correct, and they started to go against what the Catholic Church wanted. And when that happened, the Catholic Church decided that they had more power than the church, than the Catholic Church had at the Rome, yeah, the Rome started to lose its grip on the truth. Like it started to lose grip on its falsities that they were trying to portray into the world. And though they used the Knights of the Templar to do their dirty work for a very long time, once the Knights realized what was happening, they started to put a stop to it. And they kind of were going against what the Roman Church wanted at the time. So what the Roman Church did is they decided to incorporate, I don't remember where the people that they hired, but they were, the men that had like, they carried like swords, like, so I don't know if that was from Samaria or, um, I'm not really sure what part of the world because I didn't really investigate it because it didn't really pertain to what I was learning at the time. But what they did is in one night, they um, hired these thugs, we're going to call them, and they came in and they slaughtered all of the Knights of the Templar. Problem being for the Roman Church was that the Knights of the Templar, a lot of them, some of them, I don't know how many, because that's kind of wiped from history, but some of them just had that bad feeling and they didn't go or be where they were supposed to be for the mass calling of them. So some of them just at the last minute, you know how you get that feeling like, I mean, we all experience it. Like, you're supposed to go to an outing or a party or something, and at the last minute, you're just like, something just doesn't feel right. I just don't feel like going. I'm not gonna go. I don't know why. I'm just not gonna do it. And you just break down into your soul. You just have this like, I'm not going to do it, and you don't. And that's what happened with them. And it saved their lives. So some of them lived on and just hid in different places of the world. I mean, sometimes they hid in caves, sometimes they hid in populations, and you know what I mean? Like they become farmers and different things like that. And they still continued their work in a way. You know what I mean? So I don't know why Spirit has me bringing all this up, but um, they even say how like the Bible, even speaks about meditation, and that's something that the Templars learned early on was to do meditation. And then I was getting the word that they kept asking me to write down distortion of the past, and I kept, distortion of the past, distortion of the past. I don't know what that means. So with all that being said, yeah, I get that's all they wanted me to say for this. This was my download that I had received the other day. So I'm going to move that aside, and I'm going to bring out some cards here and see exactly what Spirit wants me to talk about today. So I'm going to switch the camera over to so you can see from above, so you can see the cards coming out. And there were a few cards that popped out when I was shuffling. So I do have them set out already. So I'm going to just kind of set this up and move my microphone and stuff like that so that I don't get this weird distortion like I have in previous videos. I'm learning, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to switch it over and I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the cards that came out. They want me to pull one of these. Sorry, this is a painting that I'm working on, and it's just taking forever because I keep getting distracted. So I'm just going to move a few of these decks around here. And so this one, they want me to pull out a card to read at the end of the reading. So let me just get this pulled out here and see what they want us to know. Hologram. Okay, so hologram. I do not know what this card represents, but I'm pretty sure I understand what they're trying to say here because, you know, they say that we live in a hologram, and I don't know how true that is, or I'm not here to make decisions for anyone. These two cards also popped out, so I'm going to read them at the end. So I'll just stand them here. And then these cards come out here, and it's the Seed, Man of Blood, the Martyr, and the Moment. Now, most people don't know what these mean, so I'm going to explain to you. And on the bottom is the Edge. So the meaning of these cards here, so just want to make sure that you can see them here. And the Edge, I don't know, I'll look at that. And then the Warrior and the Veil right underneath. Okay, the Heart. Okay, I know what they're trying to say now. Okay, so we don't need that one. Okay, so the Seed is what contains all the history and future of possibilities. So the seed basically cannot be changed. Whatever is in the seed is what that seed will grow into its own likeness. It produces new seeds and the generations that come after. So what they're saying here is with this card, with the Seed card here is, you know, you can plant seeds, but if we don't prepare the soil, then the seed will not produce. But so if we neglect the soil, that's when it won't produce, basically, right? So, but if we till it, we fertilize it, and then we put our seeds in, then those seeds have a much better chance of growing into its own likeness, right? And then the Man of Blood is basically, you know, it brings us food and oxygen to our bodies, and without its presence, we cease to exist, basically, right? So it's passed on into our bloodlines. Like, you know, the other thing too is the Man of Blood is the word is more about it's more of a masculine type thing. So it talks about pride and about being rigid. And the reason why in the male DNA, basically, why it becomes rigid and because why the pride is so strong in men is because the main characteristics is because they need to assert and prove their achievements or their goals. It's, you know, part of their DNA. And they say the reason why is because, like, women, when they have their children, like, they know, you know what I mean? Because they carry that child in their womb. You know, they know that their children contain their blood in their, you know what I mean, their offspring. And, you know, they give birth, so that child knows that that woman knows that that child is hers, you know what I mean, no matter what. But men don't have that privilege because men just plant the seed, you know what I mean? And if that woman is not honest with that man, then it could be another man's bloodline. Do you know what I'm saying? So the reason why men have those characteristics, it's because the only way that they know their place when it comes to their children is through his bloodline. So basically, they have to have a lot of trust in the woman that they're with, and to understand that it's about their lineage, but it's also about teaching and tradition. You know what I mean? So when children are born to parents, that they do, they're the ones that are teaching them. They're their main teachers, right? They teach them, everything about that they know, and they also teach them about traditions. Now we have the card at number 10, the martyr. The martyr is like, some believe being a martyr is a waste of a life, but some believe that it's like the ultimate mark of faith. And this is where it kind of got into like the Yeshua type realm here. And I think that's why they had me write down on this paper, all before birth of Christ. So they were saying that some believe that because it is the mark of faith, a martyr has basically the maximum impact for our cause, or for whoever's cause, you know what I mean, if they become a martyr. So really what they're saying is the last strategy in a losing battle would be to have a martyr. Again, I think that's where they're coming out with like Jesus or Yeshua, you know what I mean? And also they use a martyr, like a martyr is used at that point because they know that it's like I said, a strategy in losing a battle, but it's because there's an imbalance. Now, so that's basically their last opportunity to create long lasting impact on the world. Let's put it that way. So then the card number 3 here, moment. This is like a time where it's like you can sing it's a time to sing basically when all the curses are fulfilled. So and it talks about keeping balance in a slippery situation. It talks about um, like we can choose to be asleep and miss it, or we can analyze what we have experienced. Even though the experience is over, no one can live without planning or using their memory. And the ideal is not to discard all the knowledge of the past or the future, but to be present within our general consciousness. Our minds can pick up on what is of importance, especially if, to examine things more closely. Like each moment brings its own quality of joy, dread, or action. And normal human life always is in a state of change. Now, it talks about too that we could also miss out if you're too far in the future. But if you're being in the moment, then if an opportunity arises, most likely you won't miss it. So I guess that's the importance of living in the moment. And then, of course, the edge card came out, which is about being like on the edge, like a threshold of maturity. It's like the old life aids a new life to grow. Do you know what I mean? So, and I noticed that they also have, on the bottom of this deck, they have like the card warrior. And warrior, it comes many forms, really. And then the veil. So, and then the heart. So, what they're saying here is that in the hearts of all people, we are actual warriors in a sense, because, we have those daily battles. We have, the only way to, we all have our battles, I guess, and then the veil, this is all about what you see, what's going on behind the scenes. And then you have the heart underneath, and then you benefit. Oh my God, and the advisor. So it just keeps going. So we're going to just like stop there because I want to see what else Spirit is trying to bring out here, because everything that they have been talking about, it has been, okay, they're asking me to bring out this deck here. Osiris on the bottom. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, Spirit, what is it that you want here? Okay, Spirit, anytime. Moon? I don't know what these cards are. And then Osiris again. Okay. Burial. Something has been buried. It's going to be uncovered. Okay. Oh my God. And I just pulled the deck up, an amulet. Okay. Okay. So, amulet is about good luck. It's about good fortune. And we all carry amulets, actually. Like an amulet could even be like a lucky stone, a lucky button. It could be a feather. It could be, yeah, even a rabbit's foot is considered an amulet, right? And then you have riches on the bottom. Okay. Okay, I need to look up a couple of these because I don't know what they mean. So I'm not sure what this one or Cyrus is. I know the rest, but I don't know what these two are. So I'm just going to take that moment and look them up. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through these because number 14 here. Number 14 is about fertility, growth, creativity, and prophecy. And then number 6 is also about renewal, second chances, fresh starts. They're bringing that up a lot too, right? They're bringing up about all this change. And number 12, that represents darkness, adversity, and sacrifice. And it comes right out under martyr. My God, Spirit. And the seed comes out, the fertility comes right out, and growth, creativity, and prophecy comes right out under the seed. So I'm not really sure what they're, oh my God, Spirit. Okay. So martyr and Osiris. So Osiris is the darkness, the adversity, the sacrifice. That's what a martyr goes through. A martyr goes through like all the battle, basically. I don't know why I have the shakes. It's like the energy's so high. I get like these weird tremors going on. Okay, so burial. I don't know what burial is for sure. This is like this deck I've had for a long time, but I don't really use it. So okay, so the moment. Okay, so moment, and then it comes out with burial, which is overwhelmed, anxious, and snowed under. So this could be feeling in the moment. People are feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling like they're being buried alive, and they always feel like they're digging their way out. Maybe that's why a lot of people like to prefer to be in the past or in the future instead of being in the moment, because the moment right now, it's so difficult. Okay, so let's see what 23. I just want to, yeah, because I'm pretty sure like the edge, and the 23. I know that's definitely, this is good luck and good fortune. I heard we're right on the precipice, is what I just heard. We're on the precipice of this good fortune, and like with all this change that they're talking about here. And then like with the warrior, what's this with the riches? I don't know what that is. Let me just get a quick boo just to make sure I'm not messing this up for the spirit here. Look, again, it is wealth, prosperity, guard your finances. Okay, so it does have a double meaning. It foretells of a time of abundance is on the horizon. Okay, and the warrior is about like being a spiritual warrior. So, oh my goodness. And you know, like on the bottom, you notice like this card here kept coming up, and this card is about nurturing. This card is about, what is it? Hold on. There's more to it. Let me just take a boo and see. It's about nurturing, self-love, and healing. Yeah. Okay. Because this card here, this energy here, it can bring healing energies into your life and can gently work through any health issues, particularly mental health issues, which might currently be holding you back. And, you know, like, I'm going to tell you too that, you know, people that are very spiritual and that, you know, go by the teachings of the Gnostics or the Hermetic, you know, a lot of these people are considered to have mental illness, but that's not what it is. Like, do they have depression? Probably. You know, do they feel that they're not, at home on the earth or within their own skin? Yes, because they're missing that huge spiritual um connection. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm just going to set this deck aside here. So they're repeating these cards. Okay, so what else do you want, your spirit? Okay, they did tell me that they wanted me to now this is a deck that I think, I don't know if I've ever used this deck in a reading, honestly. So I'm just going to well, hero on the bottom, number 16. And that's what Mutt, I guess. I don't know how to say a lot of these words. Waiting, romantic disappointment, heartache, you know, and the Atlas, responsibility, weighed down, just like I was talking about, like with this burial. See, what they're talking about here with that is, you know, that's what causes a lot of the heartache, is that, you know, with this, you know, we all seem to always be waiting for something. We're always, you know, wanting that romantic, you know, it's that love, you know what I mean? Because it's the love that you get when you're in spirit form, but you don't feel that in the human form. Do you know what I mean? Not to the degree that you do in a spiritual form. And I think that's why we all have that longing that we don't belong. We don't ever feel like, I don't say we don't ever, but a lot of us don't feel like we're a part of the world in a way. You know what I mean? Oh my God, look at that. Cassandra, number 25, prophecy, visions, disbelief. No joke. A lot of people do have an issue with, you know, and the prophecy, that prophecy has come up a couple times here, because that goes right, because you have like the seed, that's what um, a moon represents. And now you have Cassandra, which also means prophecy, spirit. Oh, I don't think I talked about this. I don't know if I said anything about this card. This card here is about the light. It's about uh like the second chances, like fresh starts. Um yeah, it talks about old flames, lost love even, and that's the first card that came out here, was about, you know, the pain of lost romantic love, or whatever it was. I can't remember now. Medusa. Jealousy, envy, spitefulness, and backstabbers. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I think what Spirit is trying to tell me in this reading here, I think what they were talking about is that, I think what they're trying to say is that with the world order, the Catholic Church, they had removed, oh, look, and I come out on Hero again. They're talking about the fall of a civilization, and that with it they tried to wipe the records so that all this information that we would have learned through our lineage, because like when you think about it, we all have been a part of these energies and the civilizations that have lived long before us. We are all from that, basically, you know what I'm saying? So I think what they're trying to say is that, we need to learn to read between the lines and things like that when it comes to religion, because religion really is like a man-made thing and not a divine thing or an earthly thing that was created by the gods over time. So, Hero, Holy Spirit, and then it comes out, I don't even know how to say that word. I'm not even going to try. Number 29, the key words are memories, flashbacks, inspiration, the past revisited. And that's what I was just saying with these other cards here about how, like we can't, well, I guess we can, but it's about the past versus the future. Like, it's not ideal for us to discard all the knowledge of the past, I guess, what they're trying to say, right? Because it's all these martyrs that, okay, so this is where they're coming back again to the ancient civilizations. Yeah, because with these civilizations with them wiping out all the previous knowledge, it was a punishment. But it's because they were falling, and they didn't want the truth out there because they wanted to control the future generations. And this is how they did it, by removing, they burned these mystery schools to the ground. They stopped the seeds of our ancestors. They try to wipe it clean from the records. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and it was also that they could acquire wealth. Okay, so what do you want for burial? Oh, geez. Okay. Burial. Overambitious, downfall, disappointment. Exactly, Spirit. Oh my God. It's amazing how they make this all work. I didn't know how they were going to make these cards all work. And the amulet, look at this on the edge, and it comes right over Aphrodite, which is love, passion, desire, and romance. And this is something that we all want. Love, we all want love. We all want that passion. We all have that desire, and we all want that romance. And with the amulet here and on the edge, because they're saying we're on the threshold of maturing as human beings, because we've been kept in the dark for so long that a lot of us are graduating from that. Okay, let's see what else here. Wow, this is like pretty in depth. Like, Spirit brings these like really crazy messages to me, and I have to try to like figure them out. It freaks me out sometimes because they're so in depth. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much information that they are bringing forth. Okay, Spirit, number 23, amulet. They've been bringing up the prophecy a lot in my readings too. Leander, dangerous love, risk taking, guiding light. This is that trust that they're saying, like, to have, like, take a risk. Oh my God, Spirit, take a risk. Okay. Oh my God. And then here it, for this one, wow, Spirit. 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Oh my God. And notice they bring up 11. They bring up a lot of the ones here. And ones are all about beginnings, right? Achievement, victory, triumph, freedom, completion. With these rich. And then on the bottom of that is Achilles, is courage, defiance, and strength. And that's what it takes. Love struck infatuation, heart sore, Pandora's box, revelation, chaos, sorrow, and hope. Okay, we're going to move on here. There's something here in the, they want me to look up this card, number 17. What deck is, I'm going to find the book. Hold on. Okay, it says, while Hero waits safely in her tower, Leander takes all the risks trying to get to her by swimming across the water, using only the fickle flame of her lantern as a guide. Once the flame is extinguished by the wind, he loses his way and drowns. This card comes as a warning that you are taking too much risk for a loved one. It indicates a dangerous love, one where passion swells and carries you away, but with ultimately can lead you to your undoing. If you are not careful, love is not meant to be dangerous. If you feel unsafe with your partner or they encourage you to indulge in risky behavior, this card is gently suggesting that you rethink your relationship. A bad romance can be intoxicating and exciting, but if it puts you in danger, then it might be time to end it. Wow, Spirit. The Leander card can also indicate that you have lost a guiding light in your life and that you feel abandoned and cut adrift. This is normal when you have lost a loved one, say after a bereavement or divorce. So easy on yourself and remember that you have enough spark within you to become your own guiding light. Oh my God, Spirit. So you're right on the edge. Precipice is what they keep saying. That's why they keep bringing out like these, both the prophecies, the visions, disbelief, the heartache, the romantic disappointment. Okay. So, it's going in a different direction than I thought it was going to go into, because they were really bringing up about like from the past and, like what happened, like, like all the information from the past. Hold on, my cat just showed up and it's storming out and I want to get him in, and his name is actually Storm. So I hate going out there screaming like Storm when it's actually like storming out, because I sound like a nut. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I tell you, there's always all these interruptions when I'm trying to do readings, and it seems like the more important these readings are, the more interruptions I get. So, okay. So, Spirit had me to bring out this deck, which I thought was weird because it's about the Stoics. And they're telling me to take a card from I shuffled it before I started, and they said take a card from the top and one from the bottom. So I'm going to take the one from the top and the one from the bottom. And again, they have something to do with the elements, but I'm not going to talk about that because it interferes with me posting the videos. So let's see, where do you want to start? Which one? Oh my God. Worrying about loved ones is a universal human activity, but worrying about our loved ones is not the same as loving our loved ones. We are to remember that we have no power over the deaths of our family and friends. It will happen, and we have to be prepared. Likewise, The fact that we cannot control the lives of others gives us reason to be grateful that others cannot control our own. And that's why they had me read that. So I don't know what's going on for some of you. If you have your children and your wife and your friends to live for forever, you are silly, for you have the things which are not in your power to be your power, and the things which belong to others to be yours. Okay. All right. So this was a quote from Epictetus. I have no idea. Okay. If you have your children and your wife and your friends to live forever. Oh my God, now the cat wants to come in the room. Hold on a moment. Come on. Come on. No. You can't. No, you're wet and you're on the curd, buddy. Oh, okay, Storm. Okay. Woohoo. Oh no. Oh no. He's got yucky stuff. Hold on, I need to get something to dry that. No, you have to stay off of that. Stay off. He just can't control himself about getting on my painting. Hold on, I gotta go get something to wipe up the water here. It's gonna be in the curds. Oh shoot. See what I mean by the distractions? And this is what happens in real life. Like this is this is what keeps us off our path of self-discovery. It's what keeps us off our path of learning about our spiritual place in the world, you know what I'm saying? In the universe. Okay. So you are silly. Don't get up here. For you would have the things which are not in your power to be in your power, and things which belong to others to be yours. And I think that's what they're talking about, this hologram. And now he's laying on top of, oh gosh, this cat, whatever. I'm just going to leave him. I'll just draw everything off later. Hopefully it doesn't ruin my books. I think this is where they're talking about how, you could be in a dangerous love or risk taking. So you could be with somebody that is not, and this is also people, I guess basically what they're saying here is, people trying to take control of your life and existence. And, that's where, I guess, where it goes back to when they use the world order of, what was it that they had me put? Okay. Oh, the cat is on top of my stuff. Okay, Storm, you need to go. Come on, buddy. Why are you laying in such a weird place? Very odd. Okay, now it's all wet and weird, but what was it that I was just talking about? Oh, where they're talking about with the fall of they created a new model, the world order centered around the Catholic Church. They did that on purpose because it was a way to steal your power, to steal your energy, to steal your future. Oh my God, Spirit. And maybe this individuals that, maybe this is because freedom comes from within. Nobody gives you that. Like, we're born free, but that freedom was taken at birth without our consent, basically. Okay, so what's this one? The universe itself is God, and the universe outpouring of its soul. This is from Cyprus. Okay, what does this side say? This statement is about Stoic theology, even applies to our status as humans within the universe. God, or Zeus, is diffused throughout the universe, and this is a reason, or ought to be a reason, for us to behave rationally, because we are part of that universe. This is a call for us to acknowledge that we are intimately related to both the divine and the universe around us, and to act in such ways that we reflect this fact. No joke. Okay, so then they're talking. They want me to read these ones. This is a different deck too. It's different because I don't use these decks for reading, so we're just gonna. This is from Muwashi. Said perception is strong and sight is weak. Read between the lines. Simply have eyes and ears. Simply having eyes and ears do not guarantee that we see and hear. Perceptive people can see more than others, just as a good listener can absorb more from a conversation than those simply waiting for another turn to speak. Developing your perception will help you to read between the lines, work out other people's motivations, and discern what's really going on around you. Going on around you, yeah. Okay, so this is where they're talking here about, okay, I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, you just make your own decisions. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to think or how to think. This is just the information that's coming forth. And if it relates to you, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't know what else to say. So this other card says, Muwashi said, the way of strategy is the way of nature. Oh my God, just like the strategy of being a martyr. Like it's like the last strategy of when you know that you're losing a battle. Okay, okay, the way of strategy is the way of nature. When you appreciate the power of nature, knowing the rhythm of any situation, you will be able to hit the enemy naturally and strike naturally. And is that why they use what? I don't know who believes this, but I know it to be true about weather modification. Like they can create storms and all kinds of different things. And it's, a lot of people don't believe that it's true. But if you go on to the government websites, they're very blatant about it. Because of the law of the universe, they have to actually tell us what they're doing. And when people like just go along with it, that's almost like you agreeing to it, you know. Um, so then that's how they're able to through the universe get away with it, basically, right? So that's where Mother Nature, I guess that's where they're talking about when Mother Nature becomes a martyr at some point, because when she knows that she's losing a battle with these energies, she'll just let off one of her volcanoes, or she'll create some kind of like tsunami or um storm or whatever. But even though Mother Nature can do that, also can the powers that be, you know what I'm saying? Understand the order of things. Although things don't always turn out as we anticipate, studying, learning, and planning often allow us to address issues in advance. This can be particularly helpful in business. For example, if the financial market, um, with experienced strategists, can learn to read the pulse of the market, consider all the possible outcomes, and act as necessary. Understanding how the markets work, the way of nature, means you are able to trade within those conditions. So basically, that's where they're talking about for us to learn about the way of the world, like the way of the universe, to understanding the order of things. Wow, spirit. Um, okay. So, and with this, with I don't know which cards, I think that the Stoic cards here, Epicus here, they had me bring up because it's the teaching of Stoics, and they had me just do this through the book, and I opened it, and it's the gods here, proof of the gods. So this is where back in like the Greek times when they had like um these type of gods that they worshipped. This is where they are trying to there's two of them that are having this like debate basically about how do you know if God exists, and the principles about that and why they've come to the discussion and the reasoning. And they're just going to have me read a little blurb here. Okay, so they're just talking about how Like if you're thirsty, basically, I think they're talking about like how the universe works, because there's a little thing here about, um, like if in, um, okay, so it is most like saying that since there is a great desire for the satisfaction of thirst, then there must be something like water which exists to satisfy that thirst. So that's where they're talking about, like they believe, like this person here believes that we are inherently born with knowing that there is a higher God, that there is a higher purpose, that there is and in believing that, then that says that, like it says here, the prelude to these arguments is that belief in the gods is inborn. So we are born having that knowledge, you know what I mean? Now, some don't have that. Some are born and they don't believe in any of that. But there's people like me. Like I remember being like this little kid and praying to God, and I had never gone to church. You know, no kind of religion was ever brought into our home. I always knew that there was a God. I internally knew. I internally had that knowing and had that connection. You know what I mean? So that's where they're saying, like, this is where they're saying the proof of the gods, because if you're inherently born with it, why would that be? Why would you be inherently born knowing that there is ultimate creator if it didn't already exist? Is basically what they're saying here. So they're saying here that what is believed, the existence of the gods, is believed by the nature of inborn instinct, but this belief is perfectly rational. Um, okay, so they're saying that here that the proof of this claim, Sirio, I guess, notes that all men, or at least the vast majority of them, believe in the gods. This implies that there is an instinct within us which naturally develops into belief in the existence of gods. From this, there is no need to develop a series of premise with a conclusion. It is almost like saying that since there is a great desire for the satisfaction of our thirst, then, that's where they go on about the water. So this argument also establishes a strong connection between two favorite themes of Stoicism, nature and reason. What is believed, the existence of the gods, is believed by the nature of inborn instinct, but this belief is perfectly rational. So this is where they've debated, like these Stoics. These are the teachings of Stoics. Like they would have these debates in their legislature, I guess, whatever it is. But see, a lot of these things were erased from our history, basically, right? And so I guess that's what they're trying to tell you. I guess that's what they're trying to tell us, is that if we are in relationships with people that are not fulfilling us, and there's like a heartache or a romantic disappointment or risk taking, or your light is being dimmed, then it's time to move. It's time to let these people go, because we're at the end of it. We're at the precipice, the edge. We're on the edge right now. And then because they're talking about the prophecy too, and that I know a lot of people live in disbelief, but that is not exactly what's happening here. And when they come out with the hologram card, I'm pretty sure this hologram is all about, though I don't really know what it is, I'm just surmising, I believe what that is that they're talking about that we, in current days, and that's why I think things are crumbling around us. If you look around the world and you just look at, like, you know, all the things that are happening. I mean, I don't want to go into that because, it's so much, but, we are aware of it. Anybody that is awake, like they said here in one of these cards about being asleep, um, you can choose to be asleep. Which one was it? Yeah. The moment. The moment. That's what the moment means. Like, be asleep, right? And the number 3 too also represents the mother, the father, and the child. So here we have unification, oneness, healing code, number 41. Okay, so I think this is also what the universe is bringing to us, because our hologram that we are living in, it's collapsing. Because we've all been living in a hologram. We just didn't realize. It's like that, that movie, The Truman Show. Now, some people are going to sleep through it, others are not. And the ones that are not, they're going to understand what's happening. And I mean, these readings are all done for what's supposed to be for the future. So I don't know how far into the future they are for. I just know that I'm doing this for spirit. And this is what they're asking me. And when I say spirit, I mean, I refer to the creation, the creator, the main creator. I mean, I think there's many gods and goddesses. There's many, but there's the one creator. Okay, spirit. I'm going to do a control pull here. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sovereignty. Oh, Orion, magical creation. And that's what it is. It's all about finding to become a sovereign being. Oh my gosh, I'm getting burps, which is a confirmation. It's all about your sovereignty. Like once you become that. Okay. Once you realize that you're a sovereign being, they lose control over our existence. Basically, they can no longer manipulate us. The hologram falls apart, right? Okay, spirit, what else you need? Here. Confidence. The Atlantean libraries. This is about the Akashic records. Number 23. And see, they have the number 23 here with the amulet, right? Okay, spirit. Recalibration. Guardian, healing, shield. The bottom. Okay. Nourishment of the gift of the mer people. Okay. They're also like, I know that they're bringing up a lot about the water and stuff, and they're bringing up a lot about the Atlantean, because that's where they talk about how whales and dolphins are actually this one spirit focused curiosity. Okay. Guardian, sacred builder, curiosity. Zeta, spiritual expansion. Yeah, this is where they're talking about, cramps in my hands, like reading between the lines. They're talking about, the edge, like this is what they are doing. This is like our extraterrestrial cousins, our galactic cousins. Receptivity, the angelic diamond light, number 44. Okay, spirit, is there anything else? A disclosure in the Atlantean libraries. So they're bringing up, where's that one? The Atlantean libraries here, and they're bringing this up again, the disclosure. Oh my God, now just talking with the dolphins and the whales. I think that they're what is going to happen, because we're on the edge here, and they were talking about the prophecy, the visions, and the disbelief. I think this is what they're talking about, that there's going to be a disclosure, so that the earth, so that we can all become witness to we're on the edge of this, and there's going to be success, freedom, healing codes, collaboration. Oh my God, my God, oh my God. And okay, so what they're saying here, what's going to end up happening here is that once you become a sovereign being and you're no longer, and you're in your confidence, you'll have access to these libraries, and then you're going to become like a sacred builder. So basically, it's going to be the fall of this hologram, and it's already falling. And then, people are going to become curious of what this spiritual expansion is all about. Because, a lot of people, like I said earlier on, you know, we all go through those periods of where like we don't feel like we belong, and that we're missing something in our lives. And that's what it is. It's our spiritual connection. So that's going to start expanding in everyone. And, also they even brought up too about, the seasons changing. So they were talking about the equinox again, like the winter and the summer. So we're coming like December 21st is our winter equinox. And that's really what we're supposed to be celebrating, not, what this has created in the Bible. You know what I mean? When it comes to Jesus, because Jesus, they used him as a martyr so that, hoping that his teachings would live forever through humanity. But because the world order of the Catholic Church changed, they did tell some of the things in the Bible, but they took it and they warped it basically. So that's what was that statement they kept telling me? Distortion of the past. So they distorted the past so that, when these children would be born in our lineage, we would teach them and we would have tradition so it would wipe out what was really going on back then, opposed to what really is going on and that we're not aware of, I guess. I don't really know if I'm explaining it right, but so then there's going to be success here. So we have number 30 with success, freedom, healing codes. Just like I said, like once you become a sovereign being, there's no way they can't trick you anymore. And that's what's happening. A lot of people are awakening to what's going on around the world because, it's like, it's shitty. Let's be honest, right? Okay, so then there's going to be like a collaboration. So they're talking about, oh my God, the lions here too. So, they're saying like all these realms, it's a collaboration. Like everyone is joining together. Like when we hit, I think it was 2012, when I think there was enough of the people that were holding the light and anchoring the light into earth for the divine. It brought attention to the galactic beings and all of the elementals and whatnot. So they all started collaborating together, and they started focusing to bring these guardians, to bring these builders of the new world, not the world order, but a new world, a new way of being, a new way of existing for all of us. And it's going to be an integration, and that's where this spiritual expansion and these libraries are going to bring a higher self of integration. My God, spirit, I didn't know how they were going to bring this all together, but okay, so we have angelic diamond, but on the bottom this card stuck and I try to pick up the deck, and it's orb healing number 16. We have number 16 come out a few times, so I don't know what that's, because that's Mutt was 16 too, right? Holy moly. Okay, so we're just going to move on here and read this, and then I'm going to close the reading because I don't know what else they could actually possibly. Oh, hold on. They said they wanted me to open a book and flip through a book. Which book is that? This one? No. I think I lost the book they wanted me to flip through. Is it this one? No, I don't think it was this one either. I don't know. I lost the book, Spirit. They said that's okay. They'll forgive me. Okay, I don't know what that's about. They're asking me to bring out this astrology deck here. It's brand new. I haven't used it in a reading before. Oh, I can't even get the cards out of the box. I have been like flipping through them a little bit just to see what. Okay. I don't know what any of these cards mean. Okay, Spirit. What is it you want us to know with this deck here? Just one card. On the threshold of maturity. Jupiter. And the 11th house is on the bottom. And it's at number 11 again. Okay. What is it that you want us to know with Jupiter here? Jupiter. You know, they've been bringing out this element a lot. I don't want to say it, but that's it right there, the element of that. So the symbols is amethyst, books, charms, paper and notebooks, ink, pens, and coins. Okay, so I guess that's okay. So in a reading, a change in luck is coming your way, and nothing can slow it down. If you have been going through difficulties, this relief can feel like it arrived in the nick of time. The faith in the idea that we do deserve good things can be a powerful manifestation tool. You are becoming a better version of yourself, and positivity is radiating off you. Share this energy with others, fosters decisions and the interpersonal connection that we all need. Jupiter takes your idea and makes them bigger and better. Just don't become so rigid in your beliefs that you leave no room for critical thinking. Expanding knowledge requires questioning things, and we are not exempt from that practice. Wow, Spirit, that was exactly everything that this whole reading's been about. Now, the 11th house, I think that's why we're on the precipice. We're on it because of the card that came out on the edge, right? They keep using not the edge, but the precipice or threshold is what that card means. But I keep hearing the word precipice in my ear. This is Aquarius, actually, and it's an air. And this, it actually, the house type is called social. So in this reading, it means big plans and unconventional dreams are this card's wheelhouse. Anything you come up with right now can easily become reality with a bit of thinking outside the box. The 11th house is where the greatest ideas are born. As long as you don't let society impose its narrow viewpoint on your creative process. Figuring out your place in the world can be a scary thing, but it should also be fun. There is so much to discover out there. Treat every person you meet like a potential friend, and you may be surprised by what you discover. Wow, Spirit. Okay, so hologram. Hold on, I gotta go get that book too. This is the Mayan Oracle here. So, hologram. I don't know how this is. Let me just look these up here. Hologram. The lenses is what it's under. That's 146. Page 146. Let me see here. I don't know the meaning of any of these. Oh my God. Quantum leap into light overview. Reflected image of the one. Greater reality. Expanded viewpoint. Evolution into wholeness. Entering the big story. Oh my God, Spirit. What is it that you want me to read here? Okay. Um, in the midst of the collective trance, it is easy to see yourself as imperfect and unworthy. Release your self limitations. You are literally creating reality with your perceptions. Receiving this lens indicates that healing any perception of isolation or separation from unity with Source is a major life lesson. In receiving this lens, you are being asked to find a vision of your part in the greater hologram, the reflected image of the great central sun, the source. Let go of the perception of your life as a contacted ego self in the small story. You are entering into your multidimensional presence, the big story, the later pattern of the unfoldment of your intended purpose for actual coming to the planet at this time. Keep your awareness open and tuned for clues about this leap into the larger pattern that is taking place. Wow. Okay, so there's more here. Um, okay, there. I don't know if you want me to. Okay, they want me to read this. It says, "Do you remember the hologram of Princess Leia in the movie Star Wars? Holograms are created when a coherent light source (in brackets the divine) is beamed on a mirror, which is spiritual reality, then onto a photographic field, which is physical reality, creating a three-dimensional image, which is you. You are being asked to embrace this expanded way of looking at reality. From the greater perspective of the larger hologram, there is no time. Hence, you have already completed your return journey into oneness. At the very least, consider the possibility that we are actually lively little holograms dancing on the virtual reality of the divine mind. Try looking at the situation at hand from a different position in the hologram. An elephant, oh my God, they were bringing up the damn elephant. Okay, an elephant looks different to a mouse and a giraffe, but become aware of where you are viewing the hologram. The changes needed to bring you into alignment with perceiving your wholeness are mirrored in your external reality. What reflections are presently being provided for you in the people and processes of your life? What you see around you is your homework. In the process of spiritual evolution, become aware of the gifts being offered in these reflections. There are no mistakes or failures in your life. There is no way to do your life wrong. Take a deep breath and relax. What you are experiencing right now is perfect for the evolution into wholeness. My God, Spirit. Focus on your natural luminosity. When you are empty and still, you become a clear instrument through which the coherent light source of the Creator can simply shine through. In this way, you fulfill divine purpose simply by being. Oh my God. I mean, I just want to cry right now. This is like blowing my mind. This is absolutely amazing. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I just, I don't know what to say. I mean, we're all in this boat together, I guess. You know what I mean? So, we can have achievements and victory and triumph with freedom and completion, having this, coming into our sovereignty and seeing this is what it's all about. When you become sovereign, everything changes. Everything changes. Our entire environment changes. The universe changes. It's a ripple, like they say. It's a ripple. It's like that butterfly effect. Oh my God, Spirit. And that's why they brought up Pandora's box too, because when you think about it, like with this revelation that a lot of people are going through, and it's because the chaos and the sorrow, it all is part of it. The wholeness, like that what they're talking about. Oh my God. So with that, I'm just going to close the reading. There's just not much more I can say. I mean, I just, I'm at a loss for words. They're bringing up this card here, the narcissist. Okay, because this is what the world has been about. This is what it's been going on for many, many generations, in our lineages. Because this guy here, I don't know if anybody knows anything about Greek mythology, but this guy here, he was so vain that what he did is he was so beautiful that he become obsessed with his own view of himself. And he would look into the reflection of the water, and he would just stay there and admire himself to the degree that he literally succumbed to his own vanity. Like, he didn't eat, drink, or anything. He just becomes so self-obsessed. You know what I mean? And then, like, this is why they're saying, like, it's the end of the narcissistic way of being. And that's why, like, a lot of people, you'll hear the word narcissist a lot, because the world has over generations created narcissism, basically, because people have become so self-absorbed that they don't see everything as the whole. This is just blowing my mind. I mean, I really got to close down this reading because I think they could just take it on and on and on. So, oh my gosh. And underneath that is about Apollo. And Apollo is all about the optimism, the happiness, the joy, and the warmth that we will have. You see him kind of like floating here. He's, and you got the central sun here. Oh my God, spirit. And this is where, they're coming out here. They're giving me this card here, the siren song. And you know what, this is what has happened. Like, we've been like bound here, and been listening to the same rhetoric for a long time. Like with the flattery, the enticement, the seduction, and it's all been a false face. It's all been a lure to lure us in. That's what the distractions, that's what all of our TVs and electronics are all about. It's to take over our psyches and you know seduce us into the narcissism. Oh my God. But that's all falling away, and all the masks are slipping now. Oh my goodness, spirit. Wow. You know what? Oh my God. And right underneath that, no joke, spirit, is number 3, which is Hera. And it's like compassion, nurturing, and the alpha female energy. And that is something that has been taken, and was, that was taken from us. It was, the female energy had been removed from our society and demonized, basically. So that is now coming back. Oh my God, that's coming back into balance. If they were talking about with the martyr card, it was because they used a martyr. They used Jesus as a martyr because there was an imbalance. It was the last strategy in a losing battle at that time. But now we're in a whole new way. And the moment is all about keeping the balance. That, because all those curses, like with that card moment, that was all about, it's time to sing. It's a time that all these curses are fulfilled. And that, keeping the balance in a slippery situation. Oh my God. Like, some people are going to be asleep and they're going to miss all this. This isn't something that they're going to understand or ever conceive of. But then there's going to be people like you, people like me, that see the truth of it all. And this is what spirit wants us. This is what God wants us to know. I have full body chills. I mean, like, I just want to burst into tears, really, is how I feel right now, because I could just, we're so close, right? We're so close to this whole new beginning. That's why they were bringing out all the ones, and then the 3 again. It's about the mother, the father, and the child, which brings us all right back in this complete circular loop about the generations and the lineage, and then, oh my God, all the new children. That's why, oh my God, I did a reading a while back, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe, about where all the new children will be born on the earth, and they're going to be awakened. They're going to awaken everybody, and then it's going to change all the teachings and the traditions for all the lineages that come after them. Oh my Lord, I need to get out of this because I have like the whole body chills and tingles, and I have so much going on. I got the shakes. I'm just like wigging out a little bit. So with that, I'm going to close this reading, and thank you, Spirit, for trusting me with this information, to deliver this information, to help other people see and understand in a different way. And hopefully, oh my gosh, yeah, because it comes right out here. And then right underneath it, because, these people, oh my God, because they were talking about here, like the scribe, because, it's about creativity and the words of remembrance. And then you have like the jealousy, the envy, and the spiteful, and the backstabbers. Like this is all going to be gone. This is like this. You're going to be able to, once you become your spiritual maturity, you're going to be able to see. You're going to be able to sense the people that mean you harm. You're going to be able to sense how they feel and think about you, and you'll be able to avoid them. That's what this is all about, because, they use the Trojan horse to integrate themselves with this false kindness and trickery. Spirit, the siren song, the Trojan horse. And if you don't know anything about the Greek mythology, they used a horse to try to get into a place that, lived in peace for a very long time. And they used Hercules to, they woke up one day and they saw the ships were off their beaches because they were trying to attack them. And they had these walls of mountains that they couldn't, penetrate, but they had to trick the people. So what they did is they took all the ships that were on the shore that they had, beached, so that they could, unload their soldiers. They were there for like 10 years or something, which is a completion basically. And what they did is they took the boats and they created this horse, and then they left it on the beach, and they had all the soldiers within the in the horse, in this Trojan horse. And the king at the time of the people came to the beach and was just like, oh, they left us, like this was like, from the gods and all this. But he was being tricked, and he had his soldiers pull the horse into, the safety of the community. And his son, I can't remember his name, kept saying to him, like, just burn it, father, burn it. But instead, the people rejoiced because they knew the war was over. They knew the soldiers were gone, or they so thought. And then when everybody had like drank their fill and ate their fill and fallen asleep and everything become quiet, they opened up the door to this horse, and all the soldiers poured out, and they massacred the people. And that was a terrible way to end this reading, Spirit. And that's how they were able to acquire their wealth. And it was a risk that they took, and that's why Jesus became a martyr, because God knew in that time of 2,000 years ago that he was losing the battle on the earth. And so he used Jesus to try to keep the memory of Jesus's teachings alive, though the teachings that they have in the Bible are not the teachings of Jesus. So, with that, Spirit, I'm just going to let this reading go because it just gets more complicated from there on because of the cards they're showing me. But I'm just going to cut this off because I think it's gone like way too long. And with that, I hope everybody has their own path that they are learning. And I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. I'm just kind of blown away from this reading. Because really, I guess when I think about it, this reading has been, something that's been developing over a period of a year, because it all started with like about a year ago when they were talking to me about, 5,000 years ago, and I was studying about it, and I was, researching it. And then I just kind of, it's in my papers, my book somewhere, and I just kind of left it. And just kind of moved on. And, now I'm back full circle, like they said, because it was literally this time of year, crazy, that they were teaching me about that. And now here I am, full circle. Funny spirit. Oh my God, I love spirit so much. And, you know, they always have me in wonderment. Honestly, I'm always in wonderment. Now seeing orbs the other day too. So, I guess that is all. That's all. Okay. So with that, I bless you all, and I hope this finds you well. And if you've made it to the end of the video and it's resonated with you, hit the like button, share, and good luck, because we're on the precipice, we're on the threshold of a whole new way of being. And that's beautiful, because in generations to come, each generation is going to learn from the last, and so on and so forth. So eventually, in like maybe 150 years or so, maybe 200 years, peace will then hit the earth. And, everybody will agree, no more war, no more. And it will happen now. So we just need to hold the faith, and keep moving forward, and hopefully teach others what we know. And with that, I'm just going to send you all my love and light. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.